Welcome to the Squeeze with Tony Pasquazi. Typically, Frankie Bacalarz is here as well, but he won't be joining us today. Some technical difficulties, as we're all feeling it here in the pandemic with having to do interviews on Zoom still. But we're very happy to have Daniel Sessler, the sophomore goalkeeper on our men's soccer team. Definitely going to be the starter this season. He's just dealing with a little bit of an injury right now. So, Daniel, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I kind of joked before the interview started. If anyone's been listening lately, they know just how big a fan I am of yourself. And sitting there watching you play Riverland Community College, you only played the first half, and I joked to Coach Kyle Brown on the sidelines that when you're in goal, I'm not worried. Like I know that you're going to make the right decisions. I know that you have the athleticism to make up for maybe making the wrong decision occasionally. How long has it taken to get to this point of, fans feel confident with you in goal?
Oh, well, I've been playing goalie, like a full-time goalie, ever since freshman year of high school. I played little bits and pieces of it throughout my middle school years, but I never really started playing strictly goalie until my freshman year of high school. So I've gotten a few years to kind of refine my skills and decision making, and my high school coach was a big part of that, and the different camps I went to also helped me figure out what I'm doing.
Yeah, and in high school, coming out of high school, you were a huge recruit for a lot of Division III programs. I understand. I'm sure any any Division III program would have been happy to have you on their team. Even a couple D1s, I'm sure. You have that type of body and that type of talent. But somehow you ended up at little old St. Mary's, and we kind of know, we've heard it a little bit. But why don't you tell us how that happened?
Yeah, so Liam Boyle, he plays defense for me. We played club soccer all throughout our childhood. I mean, we must have met when we were 10, 11 years old, and it was a dream of ours to play college soccer together. And the opportunity came, and I visited. I had a good visit, and just kind of happened. It was fun, and it's been fun. So.
That's great to hear. We love having you. Was it Liam was saying, hey, you should come to this school? Was it just Corbin recruiting you out of the blue, and then it just so happened that you were best buds with Liam? How did that kind of instigate?
So it kind of happened. I was going through my recruitment process, and all of a sudden I was thinking back, and that kind of just rang in my head with Liam. And then I reached out to Corbin, and it kind of just flew. It was real nice. It was really easy too. It was smooth, and everything worked out just the way me and Liam planned it. So.
Yeah, and then you come in your freshman year, you start every single game that counted, not counting the scrimmages, and you performed absolutely spectacularly. I talked about it on Mojo's Minute. You were one of the top 3 goalkeepers, if we don't count St. Thomas, which we don't have to count them anymore. How did that conversation go coming in as a freshman? Did you know you were going to be the starter? Was there a little bit of a starter competition?
Yeah, I came in not knowing my place on the team, and it's kind of one of those things where you just have to go in and work for it. And I worked hard enough, and I earned my spot here as a starter. And it also took a lot of trust from the other guys, freshmen coming in unsure of how I'm going to play in my first conference games. Yeah, but as soon as that first one was under my belt, the confidence kind of shot through the roof, and I was able to take it and run with it.
Yeah, you were a big part of a 0-0 deadlock tie against St. John's, and then just a couple days later, a shutout win, 1-0 at home. How did that feel to tie and then take down arguably the best team in the conference now that St. Thomas is gone?
Yeah, it's fun. That preparation for the whole week, it was kind of looking back at previous scores, how they put 5-6 goals past us in previous years. And my biggest goal was just to go out and beat them. And it took a whole team effort. It wasn't just me. It was our back line competing, our midfield and attackers putting the ball in the net. It was a whole team effort, but it was definitely really fun for the whole team.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it was fun, and you're kind of the anchor of that defense that didn't allow 5 to 6 goals against St. John's. How does that communication work? I know Liam Boyle is very vocal, as is Henry Kelly, but who's kind of the quarterback of the defense?
Um, I'll definitely take that role. I'm always yelling at them. I demand a lot out of them, but as a goalie, I can see things that they don't, so I can put them in positions that put us in the best spot to succeed in the back. So, um, yeah, I'll take that role. Liam Boyle also has a very loud voice on that back line as well. So.
Yeah, we can hear it sometimes all the way from the press box at Okremovich Field. But let's just talk a little bit more about you as a goalie. If you had to pick your best attribute, what do you think it would be?
I think it would definitely be my communication skills or just my physical toughness. I think that Dubuque game on Wednesday, I'm injured in the first 20 minutes, and I just finished that game. And after the game, I could hardly walk on my foot and could hardly kick a ball during that game. Um, so I think that showed a lot of toughness from myself, and then communication as well. Like I always have to keep my defenders awake and keep them in the right spots and letting them know where they have to mark up. And I think that allows for a very smooth defensive effort on all sides.
Yeah, and you have the listeners worried, I'm sure, saying that you were barely able to walk. So that injury has you out today, and it has you out a little bit longer. Can you go into that a little bit when we can expect to see you back out on the pitch?
My target is this Saturday for Simpson in Iowa, but it's a non-conference game, so I don't want to rush anything. I think myself, Coach Corbin, the athletic trainers would rather have me at 100% for conference games than maybe 75, 80% for a non-conference game. So we'll see. I'm not going to rush anything, and I hope to be back as soon as I can.
Yeah, definitely very smart. And it sounds good. We want you as healthy as possible. But Jacob Wing went out there, what, Saturday against Edgewood in a 3-1 victory, 3 penalty kicks between the two teams.
Is
How do you think
yeah.
he did going up and kind of in your stead?
I was super proud of him. He works hard every day in practice, and I'm glad to be part of. I'm kind of his mentor. Like I help him fix things that he doesn't see, and he does the same for me. Really big supporters of all the other two goalies. They support me a ton. I was really happy for him to go out there, get that win, and conceding only a penalty kick, he did really well. He got to play in front of his family for the first time in college. It was really nice to see him get that first win, and really proud of him for it.
Yeah, that first win came in the second game. Edgewood, not exactly up to par with Dubuque. I know Dubuque only
Yeah.
lost 1 game last year, and they're looking to do really well in the American Rivers Conference. So, what kind of went wrong? I know you faced maybe 10 shots in the first 15 minutes of that game. You saved quite a few of them, but you did concede 3 goals. So, what were they doing that was, so good on their end?
It would, it wasn't necessarily them being spectacular. Um, we kind of beat ourselves in the end. The first goal came from a set piece, so just a free kick, and we just lost our man. The second 2 goals were just mental mistakes on my part and some of the defenders as well. So I think in the second half we showed our true capability, what we can do against those top teams in the country or the region. Playing them 0-0 in the second half, and I think the first half was just kind of a fluke, kind of just first game jitters, and we really just beat ourselves in the end. But Dubuque was pretty good. They they're able to kick the ball real far and just get it to their players, just lucky bounces, like we call them flicks, just hitting the ball very ever so slightly and kind of manipulating where the ball goes and just running onto it. So that's kind of what happened there.
Yeah, and you mentioned one of those goals. The first one came off a set piece, and set piece is always, I don't know, like my favorite part of soccer because the game slows down and it's really just, one offensive player against the goalie. I know there's a whole bunch of other players out there and they're kind of directing traffic, but it's the wits of the kicker versus the wits of the goalie and who's going to do what. So what are you thinking when there's a corner kick or when there's a direct kick of some sort?
Typically on corner kicks, I like to make sure everyone's guarding at least or marking up at least one person. We're taught to stay goal side, so that means my defender has to be in between the attacker and my goal, so you don't let them get any free range shots or headers from close. Free kicks, it depends how far out you are. Typically within 25, 30 yards, you want to make a wall, so that kind of just alters where the striker can hit the ball. So if the wall is on my left side of the net, it's going to be more difficult for the striker to kick the ball to the left side of the net. And ultimately, on set pieces, is just how you mark your man up. So not letting them get free headers and kind of making the attacker's job very difficult to get on the ball and score.
Yeah, so again, just kind of directing the defense. That's what you're thinking of more than anything else, which is great to hear. I've talked to Corbin a couple times already this season, and the thing that he keeps hammering home is the fact that in Division III soccer, all you really need is an elite goalkeeper and an elite striker. And he thinks he has that elite goalkeeper already. We talked about who that elite striker could possibly be, but I don't think we have an offensive player at your level. That's my personal opinion. But Corbin told me that he can see you easily becoming one of the top two goalies in this MIAC conference, a top quality Division III soccer conference. Do you agree with that thought from Corbin?
I mean, if he believes in me, I should believe in myself a little bit. Yeah, I think so. I think the other goalie that I would be competing with for that top two spot would be the Gustavus goalie. They have a very good back line, a very good attacking three, so it makes it very difficult. But I believe, yeah, I think if I keep working and keep showing that I can play, I think it's definitely a possibility. It's not out of the ordinary that I can get that top two spot.
Yeah, Wesley Sanders, I believe, is his name. And then also Jake Swanson had a pretty good season as well. So it's Sanders, Swanson, and Sessler, the top three goalkeepers in the conference. We'll see who gets that top spot. I'm sure you'll be up there as the season progresses. And then just one last question. I kind of ask everybody that comes on the show, especially this early in the season, how good is this team going to be? Where do you think this team is going to end up?
We showed in the second half versus the Dubuque game that we can play with the best teams in the country, I think. So I mean, it's really, we just need to be confident in ourselves. I think sometimes in practice we get down on ourselves because one thing doesn't go our way in practice or in the game. If we concede early, we put our heads down sometimes. So I think it's just a matter of confidence at this point. And once this team gets rolling, we can be really dangerous. So I have a lot of confidence in us too. I have a lot of,
Yeah, and I've got goosebumps sitting here because I know that this team has playoff quality athletes and hopefully a playoff quality team. I want to thank you again, Daniel Sessler, sophomore on the men's soccer team. Good luck to the team today against Martin Luther, and I hope to see you back on the pitch soon.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.